Hello, young scientists. Welcome to today's fascinating journey into the world of chemistry. We are from Synapse and today we are exploring elements, metals, nonmetals, and metalloids with their properties. Have you ever wondered what makes different materials around you behave so differently? Why does a metal spoon conduct heat, but a plastic one doesn't? Or why some things shine brightly? We'll uncover these secrets. We'll start with the basics, then dive deeper into their unique characteristics, understand their underlying science, and finally explore their advanced applications and even their role in biology. Get ready for an exciting learning adventure. Let's begin our exploration at the easy level, understanding the fundamental building blocks of everything around us. What exactly are elements? Imagine the simplest, purest substances you can find. That's an element. They can't be broken down into anything simpler by ordinary chemical methods. Each element is made up of only one type of atom, acting as the fundamental building blocks of all matter. We know of over 118 different elements, each with its own special set of properties. For example, iron, oxygen, and gold are all elements. To make sense of this vast number, scientists classify them into three main groups based on their common properties: metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. This classification helps us understand and predict their behavior. Now, let's meet our three main categories. First, metals star. Think of a shiny coin or an electrical wire. Metals are generally hard, have a distinct shine called luster, can be hammered into thin sheets, a property called malleability, and can be drawn into wires, which is ductility. Crucially, they are excellent conductors of both heat and electricity. Examples include iron, copper, and aluminium. Next, nonmetals star. Unlike metals, they are usually dull, brittle, meaning they break easily, and are poor conductors of heat and electricity. Carbon, oxygen, and sulfur are common nonmetals. Finally, we have metalloids star. These intriguing elements sit right in between, exhibiting properties of both metals and nonmetals. They often look metallic but are brittle like nonmetals. Their most famous property is being semiconductors, which means they can conduct electricity under specific conditions. Silicon and germanium are prime examples, vital for our electronic devices. Time to test your understanding of the basics. Here are three practice questions for you. Question 1. Define an element and give two examples. Question 2. List any three physical properties of metals. And question 3. How do nonmetals differ from metals in terms of luster and malleability? Pause the video, think about your answers, and write them down. You've got this. Ready to dive a bit deeper? At the medium level, we'll explore the detailed characteristics that define metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. Let's take a closer look at metals. Their characteristic shine, or luster, comes from free electrons reflecting light. Metals are remarkably malleable, meaning they can be hammered into thin sheets, like the aluminium foil used in your kitchen. This property is due to the ability of their atomic layers to slide past each other without breaking. They are also ductile, allowing them to be drawn into thin wires, such as the copper wires in electrical cables. This is due to strong metallic bonds that allow atoms to rearrange. Metals are excellent conductors of both heat and electricity because they have freely moving electrons. And if you've ever rung a bell, you know metals are sonorous, producing a ringing sound when struck. Most metals also have high melting and boiling points, and are generally dense and hard, though there are exceptions like soft alkali metals. Now, let's understand nonmetals in more detail. In contrast to metals, nonmetals usually appear dull and lackluster, although exceptions like graphite and iodine do shine. Solid nonmetals are typically brittle. If you try to hammer them, they'll simply break into pieces rather than flatten or stretch. They are generally poor conductors of heat and electricity, acting as insulators because they don't have the free electrons that metals possess. However, graphite, an allotrope of carbon, is a notable exception as it conducts electricity. Nonmetals can exist in all three states of matter at room temperature, as solids like carbon and sulfur, as a liquid like bromine, or as gases like oxygen and nitrogen. They also tend to have lower melting and boiling points and lower densities compared to metals, and they are not sonorous. Moving on to metalloids, these fascinating elements truly bridge the gap between metals and nonmetals. They exhibit a unique blend of properties. For instance, they often possess a metallic luster, making them look shiny, yet they are brittle, much like nonmetals. Their most crucial characteristic is being semiconductors. This means their ability to conduct electricity is intermediate, better than nonmetals but not as good as metals, and crucially, their conductivity can be controlled. Common examples include boron, silicon, and germanium. Silicon and germanium are absolutely vital in modern electronics, forming the backbone of computer chips, transistors, and solar cells. Boron also finds use in special alloys and as a neutron absorber. Their unique, controllable electrical properties make metalloids indispensable in advancing technology. It's time for some medium-level practice questions. Question 1. Explain why copper is used to make electrical wires while sulfur is not. Question 2. Name two metals that are soft and can be cut with a knife. Question 3. What is the significance of metalloids being semiconductors? Question 4. Distinguish between malleability and ductility using suitable examples. And finally, question 5. State one exception for a nonmetal that is lustrous and another that conducts electricity. Take your time to formulate comprehensive answers. Good luck! Ready to unlock deeper scientific connections? In the hard level, we'll explore the why behind these properties, linking them to atomic structure and bonding. The key to understanding an element's properties lies in its electronic structure, specifically its valence electrons, those in the outermost shell. Metals typically have 1, 2, or 3 valence electrons, which they readily lose to achieve a stable configuration, forming positive ions or cations. This ease of electron loss makes them electropositive. Nonmetals, on the other hand, usually have 4 to 8 valence electrons, often 5, 6, or 7. They tend to gain or share electrons to complete their outer shell, forming negative ions or covalent bonds. This makes them electronegative. Metalloids possess an intermediate number of valence electrons, typically 3, 4, or 5, allowing them to exhibit a dual nature, sometimes losing, sometimes gaining or sharing electrons. This fundamental difference in electron behavior is the root cause of their distinct physical and chemical characteristics, explaining everything from conductivity to reactivity. The type of chemical bonding within an element directly dictates its physical state and properties. In metals, valence electrons are not bound to individual atoms but are delocalized, forming an electron sea that surrounds a lattice of positive metal ions. This metallic bonding model elegantly explains their high electrical and thermal conductivity, as these free electrons can move easily. It also accounts for malleability and ductility, as the electron sea allows atoms to slide past each other without breaking the overall bond, and for their lustrous appearance, due to free electrons absorbing and re-emitting light. Nonmetals, however, primarily form covalent bonds by sharing electrons, creating discrete molecules or strong network solids. The absence of free electrons explains their poor conductivity. In molecular nonmetals, weak intermolecular forces lead to brittleness and low melting points, while strong, directional covalent bonds in network solids like diamond result in extreme hardness but still no conductivity due to localized electrons. Metalloids exhibit a blend of covalent and metallic bonding characteristics, which explains their unique semiconducting properties and complex crystal structures. Chemical reactivity and the nature of oxides also clearly distinguish these element types. Metals, being electropositive, readily lose electrons and react with oxygen to form basic oxides. For instance, sodium oxide reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide, a strong base. Some metals, like aluminium and zinc, form amphoteric oxides which can react with both acids and bases. Nonmetals, being electronegative, tend to gain or share electrons. They react with oxygen to form acidic oxides, such as carbon dioxide or sulfur dioxide, which dissolve in water to form acids. Metalloids, true to their intermediate nature, can form oxides that are either weakly acidic or amphoteric, like silicon dioxide. This pattern of oxide formation and reactivity is a direct consequence of their electronic configurations and their tendency to lose, gain, or share electrons, and it closely follows their position on the periodic table. It's time for the hard-level practice questions. Question 1. Explain how the electron C model accounts for the malleability and electrical conductivity of metals. Question 2. Why do nonmetals generally form acidic oxides, while metals form basic oxides? Give an example for each. Question 3. Silicon is a metalloid. Describe how its electronic configuration might explain its semiconducting properties. Question 4. Despite having 4 valence electrons, carbon, a nonmetal, does not conduct electricity in its common allotropes like diamond, but tin, a metal, does. Explain this difference. Question 5. Predict the type of oxide formed by an element with 1 valence electron and another with 6 valence electrons. Justify your answer. Question 6. Why is hydrogen considered an exception in terms of its classification as a metal or nonmetal? And finally, question 7. Aluminium forms an amphoteric oxide. What does this imply about its chemical reactivity compared to a typical metal like sodium? Take your time, these require thoughtful answers. Welcome to the hardest level. Here, we'll explore advanced theories, real-world engineering applications, and the deep scientific context of elements. To truly understand electrical conductivity, we delve into quantum mechanics and *** band theory ***. This theory states that in solid materials, atomic orbitals merge to form continuous energy bands, the valence band, holding bonding electrons, and the conduction band, where electrons can move freely. In *** metals, or conductors ***, these bands either overlap or the conduction band is partially filled, allowing electrons to move with minimal energy input, hence their excellent conductivity. *** nonmetals, or insulators *** have a large energy gap, or band gap, between these bands. A huge amount of energy is needed for electrons to jump to the conduction band, making them poor conductors. *** metalloids, or semiconductors *** poses a small, finite band gap. At low temperatures, they act like insulators, but with a small energy input from heat, light, or by adding impurities, doping, electrons can bridge this gap, allowing controlled conductivity. This elegant theory provides a fundamental explanation for the diverse electrical properties of elements. The world of elements is full of fascinating variations like ***, allotropes ***, where an element exists in different forms with distinct properties. Carbon is a prime example. Diamond, the hardest known substance and an insulator, has a tetrahedral structure, while graphite, soft and a conductor, has a layered hexagonal structure. These vastly different properties arise from different atomic arrangements and bonding. Beyond pure elements, ***, engineering alloys *** are crucial. Metals are often too soft or reactive for industrial use, so we mix them to create alloys with superior properties. Steel, an alloy of iron and carbon, is much stronger than pure iron. Stainless steel, with chromium and nickel, resists corrosion. Brass, copper and zinc, is workable, and bronze, copper and tin, is hard. Alloying allows us to precisely tune properties like strength, hardness, and corrosion resistance, making these materials indispensable in construction, manufacturing, and countless other applications, demonstrating a powerful engineering insight into material design. The specific properties of elements drive their advanced applications and are fundamental to life itself. The controlled conductivity of metalloids like silicon and germanium is the bedrock of modern semiconductor devices from the microchips in your phone to solar cells that power our future. Many transition metals, such as platinum and palladium, act as catalysts accelerating crucial industrial chemical reactions without being consumed, vital for producing fertilizers, fuels, and plastics. Beyond industry, elements are absolutely essential for biological life Metallic elements like iron are central to oxygen transport in hemoglobin, calcium builds strong bones, and sodium and potassium are critical for nerve impulses. Non-metallic elements carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur form the very backbone of all organic molecules, proteins, DNA, carbohydrates, and fats. Even trace elements like zinc and copper are vital in tiny amounts for enzyme function. Each element's unique properties are perfectly suited for its specific role, illustrating the intricate chemistry of life. Understanding elements also highlights their environmental impact and points towards future materials The extraction of metals, through mining and processing, is energy-intensive, generates waste, and can cause significant environmental damage, hence, recycling is paramount for sustainability. Corrosion The degradation of metals like rusting costs billions annually and is a major environmental concern, driving research into protective coatings and alloys. Toxic heavy metals like lead and mercury pose serious health risks, necessitating strict regulations. Looking ahead, nanomaterials engineered at the atomic scale, exhibit entirely new properties. Carbon nanotubes, for instance, are incredibly strong and conductive, promising breakthroughs in medicine, electronics, and energy storage. The quest for superconductors materials with zero electrical resistance continues, holding the potential for revolutionary energy-efficient technologies. The ongoing study of elements is not just about classification, it's about shaping our future, addressing global challenges, and innovating new materials for a sustainable world. Now, let's tackle the first set of hardest level questions. Question 1. Using band theory, explain why diamond is an electrical insulator while graphite is a conductor, even though both are allotropes of carbon. Question 2. Discuss the role of doping in semiconductors. How does it modify the electrical conductivity of metalloids like silicon? Question 3. Compare and contrast the properties of pure iron with those of steel, an alloy of iron and carbon. Explain how alloying leads to enhanced properties. Question 4. Describe the biological role of at least two metallic elements and two non-metallic elements in the human body. And question 5. Explain why the delocalized electron model, or electron C model, fails to completely explain the properties of metalloids, necessitating a more advanced model like band theory. Take your time to construct detailed, well-reasoned answers. Here are the remaining hardest level questions, from 6 to 10. Question 6. What is corrosion? Discuss its economic and environmental implications, and suggest 2 methods to prevent it. Question 7. How do nanomaterials, such as carbon nanotubes, demonstrate properties significantly different from their bulk counterparts? Provide an example of a potential application. Question 8. Predict the relative reactivity of an element located in Group 1, Period 3, versus an element in Group 17, Period 3. Justify your prediction based on electronic configuration. Question 9. Explain the concept of amphoteric oxides. Give an example and describe its reaction with both an acid and a base. And finally, question 10. Research and explain the significance of rare earth elements, such as neodymium, in modern technology, particularly in renewable energy and electronics. These questions challenge you to think critically and apply your knowledge. Good luck! Wow, what an incredible journey we've had, exploring the fascinating world of elements, from metals to nonmetals and metalloids. We've uncovered their unique properties, understood the science behind them, and seen their vital roles in technology, biology, and even our future. Remember, understanding these fundamental building blocks of matter is key to comprehending the entire universe around us. For more such engaging and in-depth learning experiences, make sure to visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for regular updates and more amazing educational content. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning with Synapse. See you next time.